In the narrow alleys of Buenos Aires' Flores district, young Jorge Mario Bergoglio learned life's deepest lessons not from books, but from the worn hands of his immigrant parents. The modest family home, with its peeling paint and shared bedrooms, became his first chapel, where the scent of homemade bread mingled with whispered prayers. Here, in the quiet struggle of everyday poverty, the seeds of a revolutionary papacy were sown. At 17, a moment of transcendence in a neighborhood church altered Jorge's path forever. As candle flames danced shadows across the Virgin Mary statue, he felt an inexplicable pull, a calling that demanded surrender. The Jesuits' vow of poverty resonated deeply. Here was a brotherhood not of power, but of service. When he knelt to take his first vows, the wooden floor left imprints on his knees, a physical testament to spiritual commitment. Villa 21, Buenos Aires' most notorious slum, became Father Bergoglio's true cathedral. While bishops dined in palaces, he waded through open sewage to deliver sacraments. In a shocking act of humility, he once washed the gangrene-infected feet of a homeless addict under a tin-roofed shack. Christ didn't come for the clean and proper, he'd say, rolling up his sleeves, the stench of human suffering mingling with the scent of holy oil. As Argentina's economy collapsed in 2001, Cardinal Bergoglio made headlines, not for theological debates, but for selling church treasures to feed the hungry. Newspapers captured him riding Bus 64 to work, refusing the Archbishop's limousine. In clandestine midnight meetings, he brokered truces between desperate protesters and armed police. When the sheep are hungry, he warned politicians, the shepherds must become lions. On March 13, 2013, history pivoted when white smoke curled over the Sistine Chapel. As Franciscus echoed across St. Peter's Square, the new pope emerged, not with triumphant gestures, but with a hesitant smile and downward gaze. Later, aides would find him sitting alone in the Pauline Chapel, whispering, "God forgive me for what they've made me." The fisherman's ring felt heavy on his hand, the weight of reform heavier still. The Vatican's apostolic palace gathered dust as Francis moved into Casa Santa Marta, a guest house where he made his own bed and cooked simple meals. Journalists gaped when he refused the papal Mercedes, insisting on a used 1984 Renault, his most defiant act wearing the same iron pectoral cross from Argentina. "Poverty is not an ideology," he told baffled cardinals. "It's the gospel." In a Rome shelter, Francis spotted Vinicio Riva, a man disfigured by neurofibromatosis. As bodyguards recoiled, the Pope pulled Vinicio into a long embrace, kissing his tumors. The photograph went viral, but few saw what followed. Francis whispering, "You're beautiful to me." That week, donations to disease research spiked 300%. It was his quiet revolution, proving love could move mountains where sermons couldn't. In 2015, Francis stood before the UN with an encyclical that shook global politics, Laudato Si. Ditching Latin for plain speech, he called climate change a moral crisis. Critics scoffed until he visited Amazon tribes, drinking contaminated water to show solidarity. Back home, he installed solar panels at the Vatican and turned the papal gardens organic. "The poor and the earth," he declared, "are screaming for our attention." 2016's Havana meeting between Castro and Obama was orchestrated in secret Vatican backchannels. Francis, leveraging his Latin American roots, had spent months passing handwritten notes between enemies. When the historic handshake finally happened, few noticed the Pope rubbing his arthritic knees, pained from endless negotiations. "Peace isn't glamorous," he later told aides. "It's grinding work in windowless rooms." When Francis passed at 87, the world mourned unexpectedly, not with state ceremonies, but with homeless shelters holding vigils. At his funeral, a single red stole draped his plain casket, embroidered with words from his first homily, "Care for the fragile." As the sun set over St. Peter's, a Syrian refugee placed her sleeping child on his empty chair, a living testament to love that outlasts even death.